in this video, I interview my friend Jacqueline Smith about for sale by owners and breaking into for sale by owners. But one thing I end up learning is she closed 52 deals in her first year of real estate. So the conversation quickly turns to that and how the heck did she accomplish that in a down year? We're not talking a hot year, the year that she got into real estate. So in this video, you're gonna learn everything that she did, her process, all the calls she makes, and how she broke into for sale by owners and expires in her very first year of real estate. And she is still running a highly successful team. So I hope you enjoy this video. And as always, subscribe and comment below. All right, so I got my friend here, Jacqueline Smith, and my partner at Place. And Jacqueline, I was talking to Ben Kinney, and he told me the person to talk to about for sale by owners is you, because you started your career doing for sale by owners. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah, I did start my career. My very first listing was a for sale by owner.
Yeah, your very first listing. So I guess walk me through that a little bit. So what kind of made you want to get into for sale by owners? Because honestly, that scares the crap out of me when I think I'm going to go after for sale by owners, like people that already don't think I'm worth a damn, you know?
Yeah, well, it's pretty simple. I got into the business to sell houses, and I thought it would make sense to talk to people that wanted to sell their house.
Makes sense, right? They already got a sign in the yard and they got it on the internet, all that, right?
Yeah. And so these people are self-identifying, right? They've got a sign in their yard already. I just want to replace it with my sign. But they're the ones that have identified they're on market.
Right.
And so I didn't have any preconceived notions about for sale by owner or anything. So I guess it was one of those things where it was ignorance is bliss, because I didn't really have any fears or anything. It was literally that simple. I want to sell houses. These people want to sell their house. I should probably talk to them. And so, it was pretty simple. I was actually in a new agent training class, and I probably have an undiagnosed bit of ADD. And so I'm sitting there, people are asking whatever questions. And I was going through Craigslist, Zillow, anywhere I could find for sale by owners. And I was just messaging them, literally copy pasting. And the message was essentially hey, I know you're selling your house for sale by owner. I'm sure you're getting a ton of calls from agents who are telling you that, basically you're an idiot and you shouldn't be selling for sale by owner. And I don't want to do that. Respect the fact that you want to try on your own if that's, what you're choosing. I just want to be your plan B if and when you ever get to the point where you're at the point of interviewing agents. And just literally texting that out, got a response back. He was like, actually, I'm thinking about, or I'm selling and thinking about listing. And I went over there, didn't know what I was doing. I think I had to go back four different times to get that listing signed. And from there, I was just wow, these people are just normal people. They just, think they're saving money, by doing it on their own. And if I can just help educate them and come alongside them and be of value to them, a certain percentage of them are going to probably sell on their own. A certain percentage of them are going to sell with their aunt or their, cousin's sister or whatever. And then a certain percentage of them are going to list with me. And so I just had a goal to meet with every single for sale by owner in town. And I did that, met with a lot of people who were snotty and rude to me, met with a lot of super nice people. And some of my best clients who still continue to refer me business today were from for sale by owners my first year in the business.
So all right, so let's take this back for a second. So you literally had no one told you, oh my God. I remember when I first got in the business, some dude told me some horror story where he went in and this guy cursed him to death. And I was really scared. So you didn't have any of that, but so walk me back through that real quick. So you would go on Zillow, Make Me Moves, Craigslist, whatever. Exactly. And then you weren't calling them. You were just actually texting and emailing them.
Well, I started out, I was texting them because I was in a class, so I couldn't
okay. Call. Wow. You really were taking action.
Yeah. And so I was texting them and calling them. I think it was just good that I got that win early on. I guess that was lucky that I probably messaged 40 or 50 of them, got that reply back, had a, good experience. And so then for me, it was just like, oh yeah. So then I started calling them, which of course I learned pretty quickly. You know, I'd have these great conversations. I would think, oh my gosh, like they're gonna list with me as soon as they're ready.
Right. But they just wanted someone to talk to.
Yeah, but then they
did you
wouldn't.
do the whole like kind of trick them thing, like let me come look at the house, or did you like literally ask for a listing?
No, I knew. So I Googled this. I always remember this. On average, a for sale by owner will list their property within 45 days of when they first put it up for sale. So that was my plan. And that was because in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of confidence. So my plan was, I'm going to come at this as let me be your plan B. That was my script.
Right.
That was my angle. Now, later on, I switched to, I was closing them hard for the listing right out of the gate once I had some good success stories and things like that under my belt. But when I first got started, no, I was not doing that. Oh, I have a buyer. You know, I actually used that in my scripts, like, oh yeah, agents are probably trying to convince you to, you know, list with them, or they're probably telling you some bullshit story that they have a buyer and they're going to come over, you know, no.
And they'll try to just trick you pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I was kind of casting doubt too, right? So I was letting them know, like, I'm not going to be one of those people that tell you you're an idiot. And I'm also not going to be one of those people that lies to you and says I have a buyer.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did you find like most when you were going out or like talking to people, what was the main reason like people were like going for sale by owner? Was it just to save money or like just the confusion? Like they wanted to do it themselves? I've kind of like me doing them before. I've kind of heard all everything. What was it like in your market?
I mean, there's those odd ones that are like, yeah, I want to do it myself, you know,
right.
But those are very few and far between. Most people think that they're saving on the commission. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like when you really would sit down with them and you would say like, your house really isn't out there, even though you think it is, you're still like, it's like a lot of people I think didn't like you might be no better than me than this. When I would do a lot more for sale by owners, I felt like it was kind of a pain to like get a hold of the people and show them. So then of course that was like a pain for the public, right? So then even like getting a realtor that was representing you helped out a lot. Is that kind of like something that you felt like too?
Yeah, I talked to them too, like about the 3 types of buyers. So there's really 3 types of buyers out there. The first type, they're going to be working with the agent. They're the ones that have to move. They have a deadline, like they're pre-approved. They're ready to rock and roll. Those people are working with agents 99.9% of the time. Then you've got your people that are what I call like your looky-loos. They're the ones, and this is what I say to them, they're the ones that have probably called you and asked you if you'd be willing to do a rent to own, or they've come and seen the property, but they're not quite pre-approved and you keep waiting for them to talk to their lender.
Yeah, they're just completely wasting your time. Yeah.
They don't qualify and they're wasting your time, right? And then there's a third type of buyer, and these are the ones that go to these seminars where they are taught, you know, how to invest in real estate with other people's money. And one of the strategies they teach is how to get deals by negotiating with for sale by owners. And so those people are going to maybe even send you some offers, but they're going to be lowball offers, right? So
yeah.
So we go through that and then also talk about if you're going to sell to one of the 99.9% buyers that is working with an agent, then you're going to pay a buyer's agent commission, right? Then usually they're willing to. They're just trying to save the listing commission. So then I'm like, okay, so I charge 3%, you know, or whatever you charge. So I only have to show you that I can net you, right?
More money, yeah.
To cover my commission. And so would it be okay if I stop by for 15, 20 minutes and show you how I do that?
Right.
And, you know, a lot of people are going to say no. A lot of people are going to say yes. And they want to know, like, if I can get it sold and I can net you more money than you will likely net on your own and handle everything for you, wouldn't that be worth us meeting? Right. You know?
100%. Yeah. I've heard a saying before that like there's people make more money teaching those strategies than actually doing them. There's like wholesaling and all that. And another thing, you probably ran into this too, but like Virginia, we have a ton of disclosures and all that you got to do. And I remember when I would do the for sale by owners, a lot of them just didn't even know that, you know? So I was telling them, like when I would go meet with them, I was like, hey, you know, you're pretty much setting yourself up for a bad lawsuit because you're not really protected. And a lot of them were like, what, you know? So so when you like, all right, so for sale by owner starts to take off a little bit, like, did you have a spear at the time, like at all that you were working on, or is that just like your one thing that you were doing?
No. The reason why I was like going at it from all angles is because I set a goal my first year in the business to close 48 deals.
Oh my gosh.
I ended up closing 52, but my sphere was not big enough, transacting enough to hit my goal based on that alone. So I was working my sphere, I was doing open houses, and I was prospecting FSBO's cancel expireds.
What year was this?
2015.
So like, yeah, you know what's funny is like right now we're seeing like a market shift, and I like do YouTube videos on my local market, and I always see them like, man, like the number, like it says like, hey, how many like, you know, months of inventory we have, and sometimes it'd be like 2 or 3. I've seen my career be 12. And so I'm like, we're really kind of in a normal market. So around 2015 was a normal market. Now, I definitely cannot let you go without asking that. Like, so how the heck did you sell 52 houses your first year? Because that's probably one of the most incredible things I've ever heard. Seriously. So you just like had it in your head and you just like went for it pretty much.
Well, I didn't really have, like I said, any preconceived notions. So I just asked, you know, my leader at the time that was, you know, at our brokerage, like how many is the most someone could do, like a solo agent in 1 year, like without any leverage, without an assistant or anything. And I said, like, not a new agent, like an agent. And he said probably like 4 a month, and then you'd tap out or hit a ceiling or whatever. So if he would have said more, like maybe I would have sold.
You could have said 100 to 10 a month. Yeah,
I know. So, but he said 4. And so I was like, okay, that's my goal, 48. Let's go. What do I have to do to get there? And then we built a plan. And I knew that if I went on 2 listing appointments per week, every single week, that I would hit my goal. I didn't measure really anything else.
Right.
So that was like how I knew if I did my job that week or if I didn't do my job that week. And I always did my job. It wasn't a non-negotiable for me. Once I set my mind on something, I have to do it. And so for me, it was like all the other stuff it didn't matter. It was so simple. 2 sellers every single week.
Yeah. 2 appointments
and
a
then
week.
The buyers
it's all you can control, right? Yeah. It's like you can't control anything else. Like you can control. Yeah. And like you said, the buyers would come. So you started off with like the FSBOs, because honestly, every time I bring on an agent to my team, they tell me, I don't know anybody. And then I always say, all right, if you were going to have a wedding, how many people would you invite? And they're like, well, 200. And I'm like, you really do know people, right? But so like you did the FSBOs, and then you called expireds and withdrawals, things like that?
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, because we're starting to see expireds again in my market, which I hadn't seen them since COVID. Is that about the same in your market? Because I know your market shifted really early, right?
Yeah, ours shifted last spring, 2022. We're seeing an increase, so there's lots of opportunity there. I mean, I didn't do anything exceptional. I worked really hard. I think I closed like 9 or 10 FSBO, 9 or 10 expireds, 10 from open houses, and then the rest were all, sphere and referral. I asked everyone I knew, like, who do you know? This is how you refer me. I was supporting other people's business, connecting. But it was just working all of those angles really consistently. I was on the phones every single day, every single morning, sometimes into the evening. It was just like my day was not complete until I set a listing appointment. And that was my one non-negotiable thing.
What was if you had to guess, like how many dials were you making that day? Like if you were like, I'm going to sit here until, was it way up there? Like several hundred?
Yeah, it was 100 contact. I didn't have a dialer. I didn't have anything like that.
Right.
It was just me and like hand dialing on the phone.
Oh my God.
So I was doing,
you really are a machine.
I was doing 100 contacts a week. So it was typically 20 a day, and I'd get a listing appointment.
That's awesome.
But some days I wouldn't get a listing appointment in 20, but I kept going. I remember one time I was at the office and it was 7:30 at night, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got my appointment at 7:30, and I was like, good, because it's going to start getting late to call. I didn't really focus, like all the other people that started at the same time as me, they were like, oh, I'm writing my bio on my website. I'm like, it doesn't really matter what your bio says if no one's going to your website.
Yeah, who gives a crap, right? You have the best website ever, yeah.
I got to design my cards and my logo and my this and my that. I'm like, I don't really care. I need business, and then I'll figure out that stuff later. So I was just really focused on getting in front of people. I didn't care about anything else. That was my number one thing.
Yeah, it's like saying, hey, I want to win the Super Bowl, but I want to make sure my jersey looks good before I practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another thing too is I'll say is I hear a lot of like newer agents that I've seen come and go since I partnered at Place last year is like they'll say, hey, I just want to do a good job, and they get that one person and they work over and over again for them, and then like they close and then they're broke. And I tell people, if you're people are going to know if you're working hard, they're going to respect you, and you can do a good job without sitting there holding their hand the whole time. I think that's another issue that agents run into. So, and I guess naturally, as you were like making the listings, then your sphere probably saw, oh my gosh, she's being pretty successful. Then all of a sudden they start to come around and refer. Is that kind of how it started to steamroll?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was letting people know when I was in real estate school, like, hey, I'm getting my license. I had one gal like waiting for me to pass my test to go show her houses that day.
Right.
I did have some people like lined up and started doing open houses right away. And, I just didn't wait to take action. And I think that's something that a lot of agents do is they want to sit back and wait until they feel confident and comfortable. But for me, the best way for me to feel confident is by like learning a crap ton as fast as I can. And also, to be honest, I think that's the best way to do a good job for your client, because
100%.
Here's what I'll say. Do you think that I did a better job negotiating for my clients when I sold, 52 homes my first year? Or do you think the person who sells 3 did a better job? I would venture to guess that I probably learned a lot and was like in the market and going and meeting with a lot more people than the person who sells 3. And so therefore, I think I did a better job for my clients because I was more competent, because I learned and failed forward faster. I think if we could just like fail faster and learn from your failures along the way and make those micro adjustments. It's like every day you're on the field and every day you're running the plays and every day you're making adjustments. You're going to get a lot better than if you're only on the field once in a while, and not.
Yeah, 100%. And you probably would rather go in and, for lack of a better term, look like an idiot to a for sale by owner that doesn't know you from Adam than like someone that knows you well or whatever. And then, and then like you're on the phone so much, you're starting to learn what to say because you just took so much action. So 52 sales your first year. Is that what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you on a team by yourself?
No, I was by myself.
That's insane. All right. So 52 deals. I respected you, but I respect you a lot more all of a sudden, All right. And then real quick before we finish, a 52. So, because I know people are going to ask me this, your dad or mom like weren't realtors and you joined their company or anything, right? Like you didn't really know anybody. And
no, I'm from Canada. They're up there.
Yeah.
I moved here 15 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Then you're from, okay, perfect. So then, and the funny thing is, you're not like a one-hit wonder either, because anytime like at Place, which we have, I don't even know how many, 300 some partnerships now. Every time unfortunately for you, because everyone probably calls you, they're always like, oh, call Jacqueline Smith when you're talking like sales or profitability or whatever, and me and you have been friends for a while. But yeah, they're always like, call Jacqueline. So, because I think someone told me at one point you were like the most profitable team at Place. And like a lot of people who might be watching this might not realize, you can see these teams on stage, getting these huge awards, and then you find out the person's broke or they're borrowing money. And that's kind of like what I like about the model that you've continued to run. It's like you're profitable now, so mad props for that.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll come work for you. You know what I mean? Like at this point, so
that's my goal. I'm going to get you to come out here, teach a YouTube class, but then just move you out here. And
I'll do it. You know what? Maybe I will. I don't know if I can. I want to go on 52 of the sales and I'm like, once a week. But dude, I really appreciate. So if anybody wanted to refer you, like what market are you in?
Vancouver, Washington. So we're the Portland, Oregon market. So anything Portland or anywhere Southwest Washington or Southwest Washington or Portland, Oregon.
All right, cool. Perfect. Yeah. Jacqueline Smith. I know her son's my buddy. He just got a job with the Cardinals. So he's no slacker either. So, all right. Thanks a lot, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Chris.